What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I'm your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivanshi. Listen, don't judge me. These last 36 hours have been hell on earth. And so lots of things happened where I wasn't able to do what I needed to do. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. With all of the interruptions and stuff that I had today, I actually got this done in 3 hours. So for those of you who are listening, the front right quartile of my hair is braided, and then on the left front side, I got it the whole thing just like a single braid prepped to the back, and the back is just in a bun. Y'all be listen. I'm a producer, I'm a director, I'm a podcast hoster, I'm a actor, I'm a writer, I'm an actor, I do hair. Like it's just when my friend said you are a one woman publication, she could have been more right. But honestly, it is what it is. Things have leveled out. I'm not even gonna get into the series of unfortunate events that have been my life for the last 7 days. But speaking of unfortunate events, Brilliant Minds season 2, episode 2, titled "The Contestant." Our good sis is also having some strange things happen in her life. And I just really love this case so much. Y'all know I love my Googles. So we're going to Google this stuff together and really get some more information about the Truman Show effect. But when they said that they were getting more psychological with the way that they approached this season, one might think like, okay, we're going to be like in the psych ward a little bit more often. But really, what Brilliant Minds is doing is integrating a lot of other things where you're really towing the line on whether or not somebody is having a psychotic break, or if there's a medication that they're taking, is there an injury that was never logged? Is there a genetic anomaly that is causing them to have an actual neurological disorder? So in this episode, the way that they laid everything out, and you're genuinely like, oh my God, like they're trying to get my girl, like reality TV is not for her, like let my business go. And you realize she is just kind of in this state where her mind is perceiving everything to be fake, or that she's on a show. And again, can't speak any more highly about the direction and the cinematography to bring the audience into the mind of the person so that you can experience what it's like for other people who are going through something, experiencing mental health or whatever, and actually see it from their point of view. So when I say this episode really puts you in somebody else's shoes, making the decision to turn that entire hospital room and the mental health walls into like the show that she thought she was on, and Wolf going in there and just kind of like setting everything up and walking through that, like really shows you when you have a good team of medical professionals, because it takes an entire team. When you have a good team and you really listen to your patients and you're really trying to figure out like, okay, what's going on, meeting them where they're at, talking to them like they're human, not talking to them like they're stupid, and really getting down and understanding language in which they are trying to tell you what is going on. And as somebody who's also in the medical profession, um, I just feel like Jesus Christ, thank God that thing went off. Got me over here yelling. I just feel like I just can't praise this show enough. Like, especially because, I have people in my family, I have friends who deal with family members who suffer from mental health disorders. And then you couple that with them actually having medical disorders as well. It is very hard and taxing on the family to even really try to differentiate like between like what's real for their family member and what's something that is treatable. But like Wolf said in season 1, like, people can look at a broken bone and be like, okay, your bone is broke. Or they can see like a cancerous mass and be like, okay, that's a cancerous mass. But when it comes to the brain, whether it's an actual thing on the brain, something in the neurons and the synapses in the brain, or just your overall mental health, because people can't see it and they can't understand it, they write it off as somebody being, what do they call them? A quack, a kook, or anything else that they said it. Or they just be telling you, like, go pray it away. Or, in Black households, they're like, ooh, they a little touched. And because it's not something that is tangible to them, they don't know how to help. And making this character have this particular condition, with her only family being her pregnant sister who already got a couple of kids, and she's just trying to figure out, like, okay, what am I going to do? It really shows you the other side of it, where you are trying to help your family, but it becomes overwhelming for you as well. How do you deliver care and be a support to your sister who you grew up with, who you played with, who you lied for, lied on while growing up, and try to balance that while also protecting your peace, protecting your family, and protecting your health, because this is stressful and she's pregnant and stress can cause miscarriages. And turns out the entire thing was kind of brought upon by um, the patient trying to get pregnant as well, and just going through all of these different extremes to prep your body and all this other stuff. And it just continuously foot stomps that medicine is a practice, okay? And I made my dad binge season 1 with me. My dad is a doctor. He do not like watching medical shows. I think I already mentioned that, but I made him binge season 1 with me, and I was just like, it's insane. I think we were talking about the episode where the bride stabbed her husband after taking ecstasy laced with PCP she didn't know. And the diet that she was doing prior to her wedding was already causing her body to try to overcompensate for the things that she wasn't giving herself. And then taking the drugs on top of it triggered an event. And I was just like, it's so crazy how you can go through your life and everything is fine, but then you're just like, you know what? I think I want to remove Sour Patch Kids from my diet because I just be eating too much candy, okay? But the Sour Patch Kids, they gotta go. And then next thing you know, you having a whole thing because the immediate lack of sugar has triggered something to release in the bloodstream, and it caused something to go somewhere else. And that's like what happens across a lot of these episodes in Brilliant Minds. And when you think about healthcare in this country, like, how many people are walking around here sick and they have no idea? And they got flat tummies, they're riding their bikes, they're running, they do their Pilates, they do their yoga, they stretch, they do everything. And it's like, you're one, I'm no longer going to eat bacon anymore, away from like being hospitalized for something. So genuinely enjoyed that in this episode, and just the conversation around the family and the support when you are the only support for that person and you're trying to figure it out together on how that's going to go about. So, love the case. I mean, I feel like there hasn't been any case that I didn't like, but I like the cinematic approach of this season so far anyway. So they're definitely 2 for 2 for me. But what is not for me, babes, Carol, ma'am, Ma'am. Okay, cool. Carol got her job back or whatever. Shout out to Dr. Muriel Landon for doing what needed to be done and falling on a sword to save her son's best friend, aka this is like a daughter to her, right? But you know, Carol, I just be wondering because that was just they weren't even gonna let her get her job back because you're gonna walk in there and tell them the truth. Girl, nobody gives a fuck about your Hippocratic oath. They don't care that you decided to care about these patients or whatever. At the end of the day, the black and white of it all, this girl sought you out. Then you found out she was sleeping with your husband. And then you kept treating her after the fact to the point where you could have been the cause or there is some type of causal whatever for her trying to take her own life and do all these other things. And so it was this cute little grandstandy speech. We got the music supervisor behind it. We got the composition. Everything sounds so beautiful. And Muriel is sitting over there like, girl, shut the fuck up. Girl, don't give a fuck about that. That is not what we rehearsed. And I love that she practiced with Josh and he was really going in on her because, ma'am, this was a stupid fucking decision. Your best friend told you not to do that, but you hid your curiosity about this girl's motives with your man behind delivering, the utmost psychiatric care while ignoring your own psychosis. This was not smart for you, girl. What if this would have gone in the opposite direction and you were the one wanting to end your life behind your fuck ass husband because of this girl, because you continued to treat this girl? So obviously, we didn't see anything in the papers or online that said that Tamberla wasn't coming back for another season. So I was definitely interested in how they were going to work her getting her job back. Didn't see the chief medical officer stepping down for hers, but I don't know. Will Dr. Landon be, a pivotal part of the season? She's also a bad bitch up in the Gilded Age, and they got renewed for season 4. So I can see this as this season for Donna Murphy just kind of being like, okay, let me fight for my job, but I'm gonna step down a little bit because I need to be a mother anyway. And fuck this hospital. Every time I ask for money, they don't give me no money. But then they want to sit over here and investigate our patients. Like, baby, we are over here trying to save lives on a shoestring budget. So I definitely like the storyline in that. But yeah, it definitely frees up time for Donna Murphy to film The Gilded Age as Mrs. Astor. Okay, cunty. Love her. So, but yeah, that was fucking stupid, Carol. Like, dumb. And even more dumb. Okay, I gotta talk about my sis, Ericka Kinney. Now, the consensus is nobody likes Dr. Charlie Porter, not even Dr. Wolf. Nobody likes him. And the storyline is kind of playing it like, where does he go? And then like that ending voiceover where it talks about not really knowing people's true motives and how it can come back to haunt you right before we go back to the big reveal. I'm getting ahead of myself. But getting caught taking benzos on the job, girl, I can't wait for Dana to find out that she's using drugs. And it's so crazy because she's not, she's misusing drugs. I'm gonna just say that. They're probably not prescribed to her. But oh well, she did go to Mexico, so maybe they are prescribed, but in Mexico because she didn't want to go to the doctor and actually get them on file. Either way, it's crazy because Ericka's whole thing is not necessarily that she's out here like super high at work or anything like that. But in season 1, she was just like, oh, I don't need to take medication as a crutch to get through my day. And Dana took offense to that. And so it's just like, so I'm weak because I take anxiety meds because my sister died when I was in high school. Like, girl, you watch somebody drop to their death in an elevator in front of you. It is okay. So she's just very uppity, and I hate using the word uppity when it comes to black women. But she's just very uppity when it comes to um, medications and self reliance. And her whole mindset is like, if I'm a doctor, I have to be perfect. They come to me because they are ill. And it's just like, girl, look the fuck around. Everybody on your team got a motherfucking problem. Your attending took PCP to try to get in the mind of a patient to figure out where her injured husband was. Like, what are you talking about? And I often look at a lot of these characters and be like, would I hang out with you in real life? I would not hang out with Ericka. I'd likely be at a bar with Charlie Porter just to figure out what his deal was and catch him in something, then hang out with Dr. Kinney. She's just too like, she's judgy, and it's very likely that she is very judgmental of herself and does not allow herself grace. And when you internalize that so much, it becomes this shield and an accidental weapon to everybody around you in the types of conversations that you have and in the language that you use. So you can't say, on the one hand, preaching to a patient about these medications and what they can do for you and how they help increase quality of life, while at the same time not believing in the quality of life that you're trying to provide. You see how that's contradictory? You see how it don't make no fucking sense? You're in the business of medicine, but you say that medicine is a weakness if you take it to seek help. Okay, girl. Good luck, because Charlie has already clocked you. And he just seems like the type of person that is just gathering information and waiting for the right time to air you out. And he's definitely going to air you out in front of your friends. Definitely going to be Dana. I don't think that Dr. Markus or Jacob is even going to give a shit about any of those things because, like I said, everybody take meds, right? Um, but just the shame of it all, when you are shameful of yourself, it's very easy for that thing to be used against you for somebody else, and they can literally take what you have within you, mix it up, and make it a poison and do what needs to be done until you check yourself. So dear Ericka, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And speaking of wrecking, oh, Oliver, why did you do Joshy like that? No, you didn't call Josh to the bar and was just like, hey, babes, kissies, how was your workload today? And Josh is like, so we gonna talk about your daddy? He was like, Daddy Schmatty, you know who my daddy is? You. And it's been way too long, babe, let's go home. And Josh is like, okay. I see how this is. Let me tell you something. I'm not waiting for you. I'm older. I'm wiser. I did the trauma thing when I was younger. I hid in the closet when I was in the military under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I've had to fight for my reputation, and I had to fight to love out loud. I fought your mama. I'm getting the judgment of your best friend who I get to see every day, whom I love, but she don't want me to hurt you either. And you're sitting here playing in my face. So if you refuse to acknowledge a conversation that is big as your daddy coming back from the dead, then what the fuck does this look like for our relationship? And again, I keep saying, I love the maturity in the ways in which we are navigating them dating in their 40s. Because is Oliver on some buck shit? Absolutely. But instead of Josh battling it and going bar for bar with the pettiness and just avoiding different things, he's calling it out. Bro, we are closer. Well, they're not closer to the end than the beginning, but they're approaching the middle. They're approaching the middle, and just in your 40s, like nobody has time for this, bro. Your best friend is a psychiatrist. Tell her to refer you to somebody else and go fucking talk about it. Like, we're grown. We're grown. I'm trying to have a big boy relationship. I done came into your house. I done dealt with this humidity on my skin and in my hair with all these goddamn ferns. And you can't talk to me about your father and just how you feel, how it makes you angry, how it makes you sad, how it makes you confused. Just speak. And while I love Jolliver down, I was very happy that Josh stood up for himself. Writers, though, don't let this shit go too long. I'm not dealing with NBC and they angsty, yearny bullshit. I'm already dealing with it with Olivia Benson and Detective Stabler. I'm not doing this shit with Brilliant Minds. They better figure it the fuck out. I cannot give my men the everlasting love that they deserve. But you know who deserves the worst? The worst? This ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Because Noah, not Noah Wiley, Noah Wolf, you bitch. You done came back into Oliver's life, upended it, left his mama to pick up your traumatic pieces, begged him to save your life, and you left. And you left. Okay, so if any of y'all have ever seen my From uh recaps and reviews, there's another show out there too that I was doing. I think it was on Found. My biggest pet peeve in TV shows, and I mean it burns my soul. It's like the ash people in my chest from the Avatar is deadbeat husbands and deadbeat fathers. What was the reason? What was the reason? I would scream it right now, but it is 11:43 p.m. The dogs are sleeping. My wife is sleeping. People around me are sleeping, but you already know. Insert Cardi B clip right here. Insert it. Because why the fuck are you here, my dude? I'm fighting the N word so bad right now because what? What you came back last season with the I've been following your clips, son. Remember when I taught you? What do you see when you look at my face? What's your features that you see? Yes. And you're just turned into a brilliant doctor and you're just amazing and I'm looking to you, my son. And I need you. I'm dying. And you spent what? 2 weeks on the couch and now you did? Write him out. Love the actor. Write Noah out. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this because that's likely one of the reasons that Oliver is in a mental institution right now. Likely one of the reasons. And before I get into my thoughts about, a lot of the different things, and especially all of my things that I think that that Oliver locked up, is we get to the end of this episode and Oliver is willingly signing the paperwork, and Carol comes into the frame. I said, "You motherfucker!" So there's that. Because we finna get into it. I got a list. Mm. Okay, boom. Before I get into my list, let me just go through the rest of these thoughts. Um, I kind of already talked about Ericka and whatever her aversion is to actually seeking help and her ideals of perfection. So I'm going to need a backstory of her life to insert itself real quick. Otherwise, her character just seems real posh. And it makes me not connect with her. Because we know that she kind of comes from a background where she had to put herself through school. You know, she's like, I think first generation going to college. She's very smart and all these other things. But like, it's not to say that people like that also can't be snooty. Um, and having more money is just going to bring out the personality that you've been waiting to debut. But as a character in TV, I don't think we're supposed to dislike Ericka on like a molecular level. So I'm personally going to need a backstory that makes me connect to her and understand, like, is being posh a defense mechanism or is it your personality? Because right now the way that she's using it, I don't like her personality. Um, yeah. So next, Carol and Anthony. Girl, I remember when I worked in the ER, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. Um, so tap in a little bit of some Shonda and some Grey's Anatomy, and let's just shake some things up. Carol needs love too, okay? If Jacob can get it in with the lab tech in season one, then we can go into one of the negative airflow rooms inside the ER and, you know, have a chat. Anthony, tell me what's troubling you in your life. Love it. And honestly, it's the best get back. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Because when you talk about the looks of an actor, when you talk about the looks of a character, you're basically talking about the looks of the actor portraying the character. Like there ain't nothing they can do about their face unless they're in prosthetics or some shit. Um, so I acknowledge that I was about to say something very mean and very rude. Well, it wasn't mean, but very rude, and insensitive. And I don't want to do that to the actor. But I will say, character wise, we don't know too much about Anthony right now. But I mean, can you get worse than a husband sleeping with somebody that went to school at his university and then introduced that same lady to your daughter, and then that lady made herself your patient and then slash her tires and bust your windows and then slit her wrist and her floor and sent you flowers and basically said it was your fault. I just feel like it don't get no worse than that. So anything that Carol does at this point is an upgrade, unless she gets with like the fucking Tinder swindler or some shit. I don't know, y'all. Um, Now let's get into some theories, and I don't apologize. This is kind of fast because if you're looking at me, I need to get back to my hair, and honestly, it's late, so I'm likely just gonna take a nap and get up early, maybe like get back at it at like 6, and then power through my day while I go and do my film critic job and such. But yeah, I'm gonna need a fucking break, bro. This last 7 days. Oh my god. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna get into it. Okay, boom. My first theory. His dad broke his heart. No, pa. Second theory. His mom revealed a secret that finally made him snap. Y'all know in season one, he's already been piecing together some memories that he he replaced his mom with his dad in his memories to cope with um, the event where his dad allegedly died. So could that mean that there is something in a flashback to come that he ends up having a conversation with his mom about that is something that he can't quite move through as quickly as he has? Um, and speaking of that, I've noticed that we haven't done a lot of flashbacks right now. And so season one really laid the groundwork of the backstory of Oliver really well. So I'm definitely looking forward to just more backstory for all of the other supporting cast members. So again, love that decision. Anyways, um, he had a dangerous episodic event with Carol, like when he was in college and a boy stood him up and he drank an entire bottle of vodka and almost died from alcohol intoxication in his own vomit. So, you know, did he have an episode with Carol and this is triggering her going back to when she thought he died in her apartment when they were in college. And so at that point, do you do the friend thing and the professional thing by, you know, persuading your friend to actually seek help for all of the shit that he's never had professional help for? So again, could be a thing. Or this is the thing I think. I think that Oliver is being Oliver, and you saw him kind of not trust Dr. Frederick. Is it her specifically? Is there a backstory? Is there information on what he's heard about her through name? Or is he just not vibing with inpatient doctors basically coming to ERs and trying to fish for patients to fill their facilities and fill their pockets? It could very well be that. But I'm leaning more towards, so far, right now I'm only at 2 episodes, Oliver is trying to infiltrate the facility and he lets Carol in on his plan. And if you let your best friend, who's a psychiatrist, who is also somebody who is able to prescribe medications, then she can help manage what she knows you're going to be put through, like being drugged, being restrained, and stuff like that. And if y'all are infiltrating this, combined with my theory of him having an episodic episode with Carol, let's say that that's the backstory, then it would be an even better cover story for Carol to come in as the concerned friend. Like, oh my God, like I think my friend has finally lost it with, 30 years of suppressed trauma. I love him, so I want to make sure that I'm in the know for the care that he's getting, but I'm going to make sure that he's here and that he voluntarily commits himself. So I feel like it's a combination of the last two, and the fact that Carol came out and was there and was kind of encouraging. Um, I'm hoping that this is a case of they're trying to out the facility. So y'all let me know, okay? Um, because I'm banging the gavel on it. I'm banging the gavel on it. It's a soft bang though. I feel like once we get to like episode, this is a full season order. So I don't know, y'all. I feel like it's gonna be like episode 13 where I'm really gonna be locked in. But right now, that's where I'm locking in at. I'm locking in on it. I'm honing in. But tell me y'all's theories in the comments below. And that's gonna wrap up this episode. Y'all already know what it is. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Leave comments in the comments box below. If you got people that only want to listen to me, make sure you share the Spotify and the Apple Podcast link. You can also follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast, where I give film and TV news and updates. And it's also an extension of my newly written publication over on Substack, which you can find in my bio on Instagram. There's really not a space for me to put it in the description box in my videos. Like, it don't make no sense. But yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I post different news, update what shows getting canceled. And if there are some shows that I don't talk about on this podcast, that I maybe write an article about, or different trailers and stuff like that that's dropping, or things that's coming up, if you go to my Instagram, and then you click on the Substack link, you'll see the Instagram post with a picture, maybe a preview of the article, and then you can go to the article and you can get you a good read. And if you like it, you can share that article with other friends. And yeah, you can also follow me on TikTok at Kiwanshi, where I do even more content of some shit that I'm not talking about on this podcast. Your girl is, listen, diversification is all I'm gonna say. Where I do short form reviews and recaps and just different reactions and stuff to stuff that I do not talk about on this podcast. And as always, you can find me on the OG, the Twitter app, okay, calling it by the name that the mama gave them, at Kiwanchi, where I talk about all of the things, y'all, all of it. And with that, I'm gonna catch y'all in the next episode.